Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? My name is Tay, and welcome back to my channel, Inspire Me, where I talk about current or relatable topics, all from a godly perspective. And today's topic is called Set Your Alarm. Now, I was going to name it something else, but I figured Set the Alarm was something I was going for. Now, not too long ago, I went to go see my kids. It was my son's birthday, and also I had to go for a funeral. But like that day, that particularly I'm talking about, it was, at first, it started off okay, whatever like that. And rain, but the sun was still out. So it was like, it wouldn't rain too bad, but it kind of rained, but then the sun was still out. So usually when it rains and the sun's still out, you know it's going to be a rainbow. Sometimes the rainbow could be so you can see it, or it could be in an area but you would not see it. So when it was raining, I was like saying in my mouth, like, God, it'll be good if I could see a rainbow. Because, even though, like I said, I didn't feel a certain way or anything in that moment, but I just pretty much wanted to see a rainbow because it's beautiful. I know it means God's promises, but I just wanted to see it at that moment. Lo and behold, I didn't see one. So I was like, okay then. This had to be like 30 to 40 minutes later, I saw a rainbow directly in front of me in the sky. It was a rainbow. It's so beautiful, and this is pretty much how it looks right here. So I was like telling my kids, like, hurry up and get, because I had my phone on charge. I was like, hurry up and get my phone. So I took a picture. So at this moment when I seen it, I was still, everything was still okay. This had to be like 10 minutes later. At that moment, I just pretty much needed comforted. I was talking to my daughter, and I was pretty much having a moment where we both was sad. So I was like, God, I pray I could see a rainbow. And then when I said that, I thought about the rainbow I had just seen not too long ago. So like, maybe this was the rainbow intended for me to see. Like, God just allowed me to see it earlier to apply for right now. So I was like, oh well. So the time I said that, I looked to the side and looked up. I saw another rainbow. And it's like God just assuring me, like, I'm here. I'm going to comfort you. My promise is still going to come to pass. Now, I want to snatch a picture of that as well, but my phone was back on the charger, and I didn't feel like getting up. I could have told my daughter, but I didn't want to bother her or nothing like that. But, God, you are so good. Like, and that rainbow wasn't there before. When I seen the first rainbow, it happened right when I told God. Now, from a biblical perspective, we're not talking about the world perspective about this month, pride. We're not talking about that. But we're talking about from God's perspective. Now, the true definition of a rainbow is God's promises. Oh yeah, also too, remember, not too long ago, probably recently, sometimes I'll see prophetic messages, and sometimes, you can't go by that all the time, but sometimes I feel like God do be using it to, like, keep me going, keep me pushing, like, maybe keep pushing. So I see one recently, and I was like, man, God, if I hear a prophetic word, it's not to keep encouraging me, because it's going to be to a point where I get peed off because it's not coming to pass yet. If it's not happening within, I give God a time for it. If it's not happening right now, within this month, don't give me no more prophetic words. Like, I don't want to hear it, because I'm not getting encouraged. I'm getting mad because it ain't coming to pass yet. So, if anything, just don't give me no more words until, okay, this is going to happen, Shantae, right now, before this month is out. And then, I don't want to hear that. I told God that. So, now if you look at it, when a person set their alarm, it could be setting it so they don't oversleep. Could be going to work, going to school. And it don't have to just be for waking up. It could be setting your alarm clock because you got a doctor's appointment. You don't want to forget. Or, I don't know, maybe you got something cooking on the stove and you went to the next room, or you went outside. It could be for anything. And also, too, if you look at it, if God gave you promises years ago, or it could have been another day, but if you don't write it down, sometimes you might forget. Like God gave me promises years ago. Right now too, but years ago. And it's like, what if I never wrote those down? It's like, and I have did like that too. Like, say for instance, if God gave me a sign last week and I forgot to write it down, sometimes the next week I don't remember. The next few days it's like I don't remember. It's like, oh man, I should have wrote that down. That's why you gotta set your alarm. You can't say, oh well, I'm gonna remember. Set your alarm, write stuff down. It probably need to come to pass right now, but soon enough it's gonna come to pass, and you can look back and say, wow, like, I remember when God told me this I remember when I had my season of in a drought. Now I got my season of wetness. Never mind. But yeah, I had my season where I was full of drought and dry land in the Sahara Desert. Now I'm in the Niagara Fall season. Write that stuff down, but just by me seeing that rainbow, should I say, it encouraged me a lot. Also, too, if y'all seen, I did a few months ago, was like how I was in the store looking for some Lysol, and I asked one cashier, and they said they didn't have none. So they told me to ask another cashier, and they found it. Okay, not so long ago, a few weeks ago, someone asked me something, and I looked it up, and I pretty much told them like, nah, but I looked it up. So they asked someone else, and I ain't gonna lie, I did get offended at first. I'm like, so you saying I'm lying, or what I'm saying is not true? And they pretty much had to like get me together. But also too, it's like God got me together, because like I'm not saying that you're lying, or you're not saying that the person's lying. But remember when you asked the person for Lysol, and they probably was going by what they knew. They're not saying that they was lying, but by you asking someone else, you see how they was able to find it. The exact same way when they asked you that, just because the answer was no, I could have made a different avenue, and the answer could have been yes. So yeah, God had to remind me of that. So the reason why I wanted to explain that as well is because I was looking for my son some shoes for his birthday. So to go with his outfit, I looked two shoes I was interested in. So the first pair of shoes, I said, "Do you got this size? The size that he wear?" The person looked, and they came back. I know it was some sizes bigger. Or it could have been some sizes smaller. So I'm like, oh man, okay. So I looked at some more shoes. So I said, do you got it in this size? So I guess when they looked it up, they came back, and that could have been like 2 sizes bigger, if I'm not mistaken. Lo and behold, they didn't have the size that fit his shoes, his feet. So I'm like, oh Lord. And those were like the only 2 shoes that I was like really interested in. So it was a kid's Foot Locker. So I went next door because it was a regular Foot Locker. So I know in the past they sell like kid shoes in there. So when I went to the door, the person like, this is the exact same place. So I said, oh Lord. So the kids Foot Locker and the regular Foot Locker was connected together. So it's like, gotta come in here. I gotta look. I was like, man, I'm about to find something. So I went back in there and I looked again. So I asked another person that worked there. I say the first shoes. So when they came back, I think they instead of looking at the back first, they scanned it and they typed it in. And they was like, they got the size right here. So I'm like, the other person that told me they didn't have the size. You see, about me asking somebody else. So I guess when they looked in the back, they came back and I was like, no, we ain't got it. So I'm like, really? So the second pair of shoes I was telling y'all about, who I asked the other representative, even though they already told me they didn't have that size, so just told me to ask. I'm like, could you look for this shoe in this size? If not, cause I heard it wasn't really in that size. If not, I'll settle for the 2 sizes bigger. If anything, he gonna have to wear that. So they looked for it, and when they came back, they said we got size, and it was the exact size that I needed for him. You see how God works? The exact size that for his shoes. And that's the other person said that it wasn't there. But I'm not saying the other person was lying, but you see how God works? So I went to register, checked out the person, they rolled me up, and I think they seen it too. They were like, oh yeah, I told you they didn't have it because it just came in after I looked for it. Mind you, it was probably like a 5 to 10 minute difference. Either way, you see how God works? Now, like I said, it's not to say the other person was lying, but you see how God worked does stuff. So this is what God had to remind me. It's like you was getting another person about, because they asked another person about something that you told her no to. But not to say you were lying, but there's nothing wrong with asking. You did it. You see what happened? I was like, yeah, you right about that, God. So you see how it happened with the shoes, how I got it. So God is so good with the shoes, with the rainbow, just with his promises. God is so good, man. So good. And seeing that rainbow is what I really needed at that particular moment. So I just thank you so much, God. Like, yeah, I just thank you for loving me. I thank you for your promises. I thank you, Lord, for your word coming to pass, for not being void, for not being a man to lie. I just thank you, Lord. I just know some people, because so much time went by and they look like they're in their winning season. They're doing so good. They just winning. They on top. So they see or so they feel. But vindication is going to come. Like I say, it's in the Bible, you got to be ready, prepared for God coming. Just because God didn't come in over 2,000 years yet, and we've been hearing since I've been little, probably before that, God coming soon, God coming soon. And, years went by, 2,000 something years went by, and He still ain't come yet. Don't get comfortable to think that He's not coming, that He won't come suddenly. You got to be prepared. It's the same way when you think you winning, time done went by, and so much so-called good that you say is happening to you, that God not going to deal with you. He just giving you time. What you going to do with that time? Is you going to get your life right and repent, or is you going to keep doing the exact same old, same old? So, the same thing I'm telling to everybody who's thinking like that or doing the exact same thing. Just because you so-called think you got away. I didn't even know how I even get here, but yeah, I got to talk about this. Even with cases, unsolved mysteries and all that stuff. Do you think you're going to actually get by? And I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but even with the case with Tupac, and they don't know who, murdered him, or even with Biggie Small and other cases that we don't know about, who they thought they got away after so many years went by. You thought you got away. Oh, I don't got... Okay, then. Eventually, you're going to get caught. Whether it's in this lifetime or the lifetime after death, you're going to get caught. People probably didn't see it, but God saw it. Well, better stop thinking that you got away. God's coming for you. That's pretty much all I had to say today. His promises stand true. I mean, seeing that rainbow in the sky, He just showed me, like, yeah, promises. It's going to come. I ain't lied to you. It's going to come. So make sure you like, make sure you share, and also make sure you subscribe to my channel, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day.